Good morning, I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations, small businesses, and nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they are here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some new friends today. Obesity is at an all-time high, and food is only getting more delicious. Have you seen what they can do with Brussels sprouts now? They can add 1,000 calories to it, that's what. And this is Tucson, so you know it's coming with a big old side of ranch. I've struggled with weight loss my entire life. A lot of people do. I'm usually floating with my shirt on around 204, but I've gone as high as 249 pounds and as low as 178 pounds. When I was young, I used old-fashioned methods of weight loss like Darren's dance grooves and being poor. But I sure wish I had known about an organization like TOPS to help me stay healthy, because it's not just about staying trim. It's about getting healthy for life. TOPS stands for Taking Off Pounds Sensibly, and they are a national 501c3 organization with local chapters to help you through your weight loss journey with meetings, magazines, and most importantly, support. Because it all comes down to accountability, lasting friendships, and leaning on the people who are in similar shoes. TOPS is an evidence-based nonprofit organization with strong ties to the medical community because science doesn't go out of style. They pride themselves on keeping costs low, and they believe sustainable weight loss should be accessible to all. And all hail! Today, I'm fortunate enough to speak with Betty Kromminga, the 2022 TOPS Arizona Queen. Your Majesty, welcome to Lifestyle Tucson.
I'm glad to be here.
Also joined by Patty Lossau, chapter leader of TOPS AZ 107. Patty, welcome to Lifestyle Tucson.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Congrats to you, Betty. Queen, Your Majesty. Let me also add, you look like a Betty. Congrats on your COPS status. COPS stands for Keeping Off the Pounds Sensibly. And it took you quite a while to achieve this goal because you've been a member of TOPS for a good long time. It says 27 years to reach that COPS status.
That's correct.
Well done, and you look great. How do you feel, though?
I feel wonderful.
That's what's important, right?
I wish I had gotten really with it earlier on, but it took me a while to get serious. I was, right at first, I lost like 35 pounds right away. Mm-hmm. And then I was sort of satisfied because I was better off and felt better, but I still had lots to lose. But I kept fooling around going up and down on the same pounds. Maybe some of your people listening have that problem too of going up and down and calling it yo-yo.
Yep.
Gain a pound, lose a pound, gain 10 pounds, lose 5.
No, it's a pattern I'm a sucker for because every once in a while I'll be like, wow, I actually lost a little weight. I can have a Snickers bar, and no, you can't, because that's how quickly one of those turns into 2. And then
3.
all of a sudden you're craving that sugar. You got to get some of this stuff just out of your system. That's the hardest part. Yes. And I had read some of your biography. You sent a nice letter that I got to read all about your journey through weight loss over the years and how even your journey across the country and how you wound up here in Tucson. But one of the things you did say was one of the pinnacle moments was finally just you had to just get it out of your house. Throw out the cookies, the candy, the sugar. Keeping it out is one of the best and kind of safest way to not give in late at night. That's when I'm the weakest.
That's absolutely a key factor because if I've got ice cream, candy, or cookies in my house, when I have one of those emotional moments or just wanting something sweet or just whatever drives me to want to eat, I'm going to head to those things. But if they're not there, I'll find something better. Like this last week, I drank a lot of tea with a non-calorie sweetener.
There you go.
And that satisfied my sweet tooth, and it was cold weather, so it also made me warm.
There you go,
satisfied.
hit the spot. 'Tis the season for that sort
but
of thing.
But I can't have it in the house.
Yeah.
It's just too tempting if it's there to see.
Yep. I'm the same way with that sort of thing, and sometimes you got out of sight, out of mind, and then those moments where you feel the craving, where it is like, let me go hunting through the cabinets. When there's nothing there, it is good. And I've settled on, I will usually try to have like a sugar-free vitamin water because I'm just trying to get that sweet tooth. I just want something sweet. In that small moment, it's really only a few minutes late at night when you think about it. And if you can just have a sweet drink that's maybe sugar-free, it might satiate it instead of having Ben and Jerry's, which look out. That stuff's delicious. And that's my point. A lot of stuff is getting more and more enticing. And being able to say no is one of the biggest parts of this. So tell me a little bit about how much you've gotten from the entire TOPS program. And let's talk about the TOPS program. Let me swing over and just also ask Patty a little bit about this. Patty, what's your journey been like through TOPS? How long have you been with the organization? And I see you might have some cop status as well. You're wearing a badge. I see that pin. It's gorgeous. How did you achieve that status? How long did it take you?
My TOPS journey goes back to about 92. I was a member of TOPS AC 107, and I got down to my goal. I stayed there for 5 years, and then I got a new job, and I worked at that job for 20 years. And in that process, I couldn't go to meetings, and I ended up gaining the weight I had lost plus a lot more. So when I retired, I came back to TOPS, to the same group, great group of ladies, and said, I'm going to do this. I came back in 2019, and first year I went like gangbusters, lost 30 pounds. Then COVID hit and kind of messed around for 3 years. And then last year I said, I'm going to do it. And I reached my COP status the last week of the year last year.
Well done. That's right. Whenever you arrive is when you're supposed to show up. So don't feel like it's late. Well done. And that's a heck of a goal because you beat all these newcomers jumping into the gym on January 1st. Bunch of suckers. You've been doing it correctly the whole time. And that's the spirit. And it sounds like support is a big part of it. So when it comes to that and really going to these meetings, getting involved and getting really a community to help you, it shows you how much our own lives can get in our way, that job, right? That you finally have time to take a step back from that, and all of a sudden, other things start to kind of come to the surface. I remember there was a time in my life when I had moved, I lost a job, I was in a brand new place, had some money set aside. All of a sudden, I cared so much and was able to lose weight. I cared about my dental health. I cared about all these things that I hadn't had time to think about because I was so busy. So it shows you how much work can get in the way, how much our own lives can get in the way, and we'll put things off. Now, writing that book that you've always been, writing that novel you've always had in your heart is one thing that is easy to put off, but health is not. That's not something we should be putting off till we're finally retired. Tell me about TOPS, how the organization really works, because I really want to walk through the step-by-step process, because I also have to explain this isn't a free thing. I am a nonprofit show where we interview nonprofits. But remember, it's not a free thing that TOPS is, but I'll tell you, it's very, very affordable. I was shocked when I look at some of the prices of TOPS because I realized those are annual fees. And the highest annual fee is $79. That's pretty amazing. There are some local fees that are due to your local chapters, but I've seen them as low as $5 for some of these fun events. So you really get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to joining TOPS, and a lot of that support with magazines, with dietary books, journals, and all these other extra assets. So I want to walk through the entire journey of what it is for a brand new person. If they were joining TOPS today, let's talk about how it works. So let's swing on back to Betty. Betty, tell me about what it's like when you start a meeting. Like your first meeting, I see that you can walk in and get some advice, and the first meeting's free. So what might that first meeting be like?
We have a private weigh-in. So we go into a room on the side, and our weight recorders, we have 2 weight recorders, the weight recorder and her assistant, and they weigh us and record our weight, and encourage us. That's kind of a private moment, so the others did not know. We never have to tell what our weight is.
Well, that already right there is. I did not read any of that. That's very important, and that shows a bit of safety in that environment.
Some people would be embarrassed to have to tell, so that's always private, and nobody tells. Nobody divulges the secret.
Okay.
So you can tell it yourself if you want, but you won't. It's not told for you.
Sure.
And after you weigh in, there's a regular business meeting of like whatever's going on. We have a lot of contests in our chapter because contests, the way the contests run, they are motivational, and they help us to develop good eating habits because we get points for drinking our water that we should drink every day and planning our foods and eating a balanced diet and avoiding certain things. So it just helps us. And exercising, it helps us to get all the pictures together with these little contests that make it fun. It makes losing weight that can be drudgery a game.
Yeah, I was going to say that's called gamification. A lot of stuff has followed what video games have done, where you're trying to level up. You're keeping track of your points, keeping track of your scores, and getting better and better and growing. It gives you those incentives to get moving. I have a water bottle that keeps track of the amount of water I'm supposed to drink in a day, hour by hour. Since I got just that water bottle, that little bit of accountability on a water bottle has kept me that much more honest and hydrated, which we got to do here in the desert all the time. And it's helped me lose weight because just drinking that much more water, it keeps your metabolism going, and it's good for you to keep doing it. So, again, another huge benefit.
Then
Tell me
after
more.
we're all done with the weigh-ins, everybody's gotten weighed, and we have our business meeting, and they do a roll call. At that point, each member gets the opportunity to either they can tell that I lost a certain amount, and they can give a number, or they can choose to just say I lost, or they can choose to just say I gained this week, or I stayed the same. But it's always treated with respect. It's never, people clap, if you lost, they're clapping, and if you gain, they say, well, we're glad you're here.
Right.
That type thing. So you're never facing rejection there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but it's accountable. You show up every week, or you call a weight recorder if you're sick or something, you can't come and get excused, so that you have accountability to show up. You don't just, not show up for a long time.
Well, the thing about anything like this is don't break the chain. That's why it is important that you show up, because that is the first step. Like, if you miss one, it's easier to miss that second meeting. Yeah. And I believe you have online meetings too. If you can't attend in person, you can attend an online meeting, correct? You could attend via like Zoom or something. Is that true?
Yes, they do have online.
So tell me a bit more about what you get. So that's the meetings. I saw that you also have like great a magazine that comes out about 6 issues a year. How helpful have you found the magazine and some of the printed materials that are exclusive to you?
They're very inspirational. They put in pictures of people that have succeeded. They'll show before and after pictures. If you were on television, I would have brought my before and after picture, because it's a big difference.
Yeah.
And TOPS is not just for women; it's for men and women and children, and it's not just for women. Our group happens to be women right now, but we were glad to welcome a man. He'd be pretty popular.
You hear that, fellas?
So the magazine has recipes, low-calorie recipes. It has health articles written by people who really know what they're talking about, doctors and nutritionists, and then there's a book they put out that's a big book, and it has all the nutritional information. If you really want to delve into the details of how many carbohydrates everything has, and grams of fat and protein, and how many calories, if you really want to go that route. But they also give you the option of doing like a plate. You think of a plate as a certain portion should be protein, a certain portion should be vegetables, and so forth. And that's easier route for people that don't want to do all the detailed work of.
That's always been my problem. It really is. It's almost like I don't even know how to read this. Like, I'm that way when I try to do my taxes, but a nutrition label sometimes makes me feel the exact same way. Yeah. And I saw that it says right there, we teach you how to read these nutrition labels, teach you about those portions. I didn't think about when you talked about that, how it's like a portion of protein and a portion of that. I was like, it's really just like food math, because it's all there and it's all in the numbers. It's all in the calories, it's all in your saturated fat, your sugars. And it is right there, printed on the label. I actually remember in 1992 when like the Food Act that said we need to, by law, put the labels on the food came out, because I remember what an outrage there was at how bad breakfast cereal really was. And because it was optional to say it. So they were kind of hiding the ingredients back in the 80s as to what's in a lot of these chocolates and these sugars, these Doritos. Yep. And now, since then, everything has to have a food label. But what good is it if you don't know how to read it? Right? They can always break something down into where it looks small, but then it says there's actually 19 servings in this bag of M&Ms, and that's how they trick you.
So one serving doesn't sound like it's that many calories, but when you see how big a serving is, it might only be a few grains of, a few morsels of M&Ms. Yeah,
and that's the trick, and that's been my problem even lately. I've like become addicted to M&Ms since Christmas, and I bought a bag of M&Ms. I never buy candy, like I don't, but I've just been weakened to it. And I bought a bag of M&Ms after Christmas, and then I bought another bag of M&Ms after Christmas because I was visiting my family and got them in my system again. And I'm like, you got to stop. You got to not buy these. because that's what it is. Nothing against M&Ms. Those commercials are charming. But still, it's just about not having a bunch of empty calories, especially late at night. Little chocolates are not good right before bed.
No.
And the more you get, the more you want.
Right. And that's it too. I've kicked these habits many times in my life. There was a time when I was on such a good diet. It was like raw turkey sandwiches, not even like mayo on them, and a can of Pepsi. I would treat it like dessert. I mean, I barely drink soda anymore. I barely do a lot of these things. But if you can recategorize some of these things you like almost as a dessert, like that vitamin water I was talking about, it really does change the game, because anything that gets rid of a chocolate bar or an ice cream is always something you want to try to figure out. But the real trick is right now to figure out, where are we going? This is a local chapter. There's, in fact, a few places to go. If I want to go attend a TOPS meeting, how do I find one and where do I go? I was on the website. It was pretty easy. It's right there. You just do a search. And I found 7 meetings coming up locally right here. So let me ask you, I'll actually turn to you, Patty. Let me ask you, where can people find local chapters here, since you are the chapter, you're in charge of the chapter, Local TOPS AZ 107. Tell me about how some of the chapters work and how people can get involved and find their local chapters. And or if there's not a local chapter, you very highly promote starting one of your own. So that's fascinating. Tell me about it.
To find a meeting in your local area, you go to tops.org. And like you said, there's about 7 or 8 meetings in the Tucson area here locally. AZ 107 is a great meeting on Tuesday morning. We start our weigh-ins at 8:30, so and we'd love to have any new members, which would be fantastic. But if if it's later in the day that you need, they have meetings about 6:30 at night. I mean,
wow,
there are quite a few different meetings.
Well, that's really good, because again, that's the meeting that if you have a job like we were talking about earlier, this is the one that if you can get there after work, you can get there.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's important. A lot of things sometimes happen in the middle of the day, I see, with a lot of great organizations. And I'm like, how are people supposed to get to this? Like, people have jobs and careers and lives. They can't make themselves available at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday or even 8 a.m. on a Tuesday. So that's really great that you're making that availability.
The different chapters all meet on different days and different times.
Okay.
But on that website, it gives you a chance to put in your zip code, and it'll show you if you want them within 10 miles or 15 miles or 50 miles.
Yep.
How far are you willing to drive, and they'll pull up all the meetings and then you can look down through them, and they tell you quite a bit of information about all those meetings right online.
Heck yeah.
So you can choose to go visit one, and it's free.
The nice thing is that if you visit a chapter, your first meeting is always free. If you find that chapter just doesn't really do it for you, something's just kind of bugging you, go to a different chapter and try another chapter, because we're all just a little bit different.
Sure. I mean, that makes sense. And obviously, if you can go close to home, that's what people like. But sometimes there's just a better meeting, a better group, a bigger group. It might be just a further drive. Sometimes it's always worth it, especially if you go somewhere. If you're not feeling like it fits, don't give up. Don't give up. Go find the group where it does fit. We've all had different styles of jobs. And yeah, you can have the same job, but it's not working at the right place. If you find the right place, you'll fit right in. So that's always the thing, because again, a lot of this is about that accountability, that community, and making lifelong friends like I've read about. And that's really important, because a lot of people are in the same shoes, and that's the support that we all need.
They are like family. It's really, that's the friendships that I've made are very important to me, and that's what I'm hearing from the other TOPS members, is that we care about each other. We've been through a lot together. When one loses a family member, we're there to support. And, when we have traumas in our life, we can always call another member. When we're being really tempted, we can call somebody and say, hey, I really want to eat that chocolate cake.
Yeah.
I can eat the whole thing right now, and they'll talk you out of it, help you get past that moment.
Yeah, believe me, you might get some emails with them like, they have peanut butter M&Ms mixed with peanut and regular now? Oh, my God. Right? I'm weak right now.
One of my friends in TOPS is on a cruise right now.
Oh, look out.
We're talking to each other by texting, and so I'm encouraging her to stick with her diet, because at a cruise you can gain 10 pounds.
You can just keep eating soft serve ice cream nonstop.
So I'm just encouraging her, and she's encouraging me. We just keep on going, even though we're apart right now for a couple about 10 days while she's on this cruise.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's friendship. And that support is what counts. Friendship is what gets you through anything. Relationships get you through anything. Again, just you need someone to tell you, hey, you should maybe go get that checked out. Or you need someone to tell you, like, you don't need to do that. You got it. You know, those same things, encouragement, believing in someone. They feel it. So sometimes it is just those quick words that really do get you that support, just like anything. Sugar is as much of a pull on us as alcohol. And you can hear that is something that alcoholics in AA have to do. They have their sponsor. They have their person. It's like, I'm having a weak moment. And that is all these things are. They are moments. Those cravings that even I get late at night, if I can beat it out, it does go away. It does go away. You're not just sitting there starving. You just want something. So if you can beat that just by getting some advice from a friend, always do it. Always try to reach out, find a friend. And it sounds like there's a lot of friends to be made here at Tops. And especially if you're a dude, that's what she's getting at. My goodness. Betty, settle down, Betty. All right. So we've got a few minutes left. I want to talk about that you have these weekly meetings. There's weekly things. Does Tops do any like big annual events or something like that? Any bigger events that you do?
We do. We have 2 big events every year. We have a state recognition days, which is generally held in June. And that's where we crown our queen for the current year. So,
Okay.
well, actually for the previous year, because we'll crown last year's queen at that rally.
Okay.
Okay. So that's pretty exciting. And then we have a fall rally that just recognizes people
Locally.
locally.
Yes. That's on where, so you got anointed queen. And again, you heard Betty there, or king. Look at that. She's looking for royalty. Look at her go. Betty, relax. So that's what's been really great about that organization, again, is something to do, somewhere to go, people to hang out with, people to meet, weekly meetings, annual things to look forward to, recognition, right? That's important. That's the spring or the fall event is the one I saw your photo of, and that's where you were anointed queen, which is exciting. And that's really, again, so important is the human connection, getting out of your house, getting out in the world, meeting people, and having people tell you that they believe in you. You know, that really does go a long way. It's the fuel that encourages us all. I don't care how old you are.
Recognition is a big part of it. In our weekly meetings, the one who lost the most weight is recognized. And we call them the weekly best loser, and they get a prize. And that varies in chapters, but they all recognize the best loser of the week and the best loser of the month, and they give them recognition in many ways. And I've gotten so much recognition as state queen.
Yeah.
I've gone around the chapters and to all the rallies in the state. I've got one more to go to down in Yuma the first weekend of February.
Yeah, I know. I've been trying to get her on the show since October. Can't get a booking. She's royalty. The carriage and the horses rolled up today, though, and I was very excited to see it. Because I don't often have queens.
But it's fun for me because I can go up to people that I sense are maybe discouraged because they obviously have a lot of weight to lose. And I was there once, and you can do it. Just don't give up.
Yep, lead by example. It's the best way to lead. And again, that's what you've got. That's what you've been doing, and that's what you got going on. I often ask people, tell me a success story, but I don't need to do that with Tops. You go on the website, all the pictures, all the stories are success stories. The organization's community feel is a success story. So I don't even need to ask that question. But if you had, let's say, one wish for your organization, what would that wish be?
I think that more people would know about it and join because it's really a good organization.
Yep.
And it's not as expensive as some other plans.
It's not.
And everybody is different, and what diet works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the other. So we each find our own diet. We have recommendations made, but we can choose what works for us. So I just think everybody needs to have a support system and get the weight off. It's so sad to see people, especially children and young people, obese because they're losing out so much on life.
I know.
Especially, I feel bad for the young people because you get.
It's
teased
hard.
And,
It's yes.
It's no fun being overweight when you're
It's not
a teenager.
It literally shut me down for years that I was a heavy kid, loved Star Trek, have acne. Every TV show told me that I am a loser. Every cartoon, every sitcom, everyone. And I had to stand up against that and stand up in a way to myself and my addictions, my addictive personality, Slurpees and Snickers bars when I was a kid. I would consume so much because I was getting bullied or beat up. And then you turn to food and you turn to these things. But all I'm doing there, you're not just biting a candy bar, you're kind of biting your nose to spite your face by giving in to those cravings. And you got to be better than the bullying. It's very difficult. But again, it's not just about being big, it's about being healthy. Right. And that's really what I'm concerned with and what Tops does care about. It's not just about being slim and trim. It's about being healthy inside. And you don't want these kids and or really, like I say, kids of all ages to have any internal health problems or anything, especially from diet. I myself have to change my diet now yet again because of some health issues that I've got going on. And it is difficult. But boy, it would have been nice to just not have these health issues to begin with.
I wish I'd had Tops when I was a teenager because my mother was always scolding me for being fat and telling me she couldn't love me because I was so fat.
That's atrocious.
Which was a horrible thing. Don't any of you parents ever do that, talk that way to your child. But I was so desperate to lose that one time I was about 14 or 15 years old, and I went 5 days without eating anything.
That's terrible.
And when my mother found out, she was a nurse, and she made me sit down and drink a whole glass of tomato juice.
Wow.
I mean, a big glass of tomato juice immediately. But I just didn't know how to lose the weight. I knew I was fat, but I didn't know what to do about it. Tops teaches you what to do about it.
Hey, that's as bold as a statement as one can get because, my goodness, today we bent the knee and served in the court of Queen Betty Kromminga, the 2022 Tops Arizona Queen, as well as Patty Lossau, which, spoiler alert, I hear she's the future chapter queen of Tops AZ 107. Your Majesty. Thank you for joining me today. When you're with Tops Club, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. Tucson.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining me today, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
This was Lifestyle Tucson. Bing bong bing, time for a recap. What a great conversation I had with royalty today. I love talking to those queens. That was excellent. Am I too much of a flirt? I can't help it. Betty was a Betty and is a Betty. So if you'd like to make friends with some of these fine ladies, go get all the information over at tops.org. They don't have much as far as Instagram's concerned because it's all about personal chapters, but you can go over there and find which chapter you think is going to suit you. Again, you can go hang out with them over at AZ107. And that's a good time with Tops. Getting involved with some community, getting that support that you need from others. And let me tell you, even me just putting it out there and practically confessing, which I do sometimes on Lifestyle Tucson, about those M&Ms, guess what? I haven't had an M&M since. So I'm doing a little better with that. That thing got it out of my system again. One of the tricks is you got to kind of forget what some things taste like so that you're not craving them. So if you can get it out of your system enough, you're like, oh yeah, what am I even missing? And they're all on sale again because Valentine's Day is upon us. And I'm just like, no, thank you. So good luck to all of you on your weight loss journey and especially looking to get healthier because that's what it's really all about, right? So make sure you're taking care of your health, physical health, and mental health when it comes to weight loss. Don't beat yourself up over it because we all have the biggest bully is in our own heads. So take care of yourself and treat yourself every once in a while. Just, make it a fun size. But anyway, I want to thank our new friends at Taking Off Pounds Sensibly for joining me today. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday Mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever fine podcasts are sensible. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Lifestyle Tucson because I'm your BFF, your best Frank forever, Frank Powers, Toot Toot Tucson. I love you the most.